Want to go?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. All I was going to say
sorry. Yeah.
my gauge
I know.
is...
Go on, please.
Professional podcasters at your service. I've forgotten what I was going to say now.
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel need speed.
Roads? When we're going, we don't need roads. Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes?
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Batman. I am the father.
So you're replacing the film festival with doing reviews of other stuff now as well? Trying to keep your hand in?
Yeah, well, I watched a couple of things on Netflix over the weekend. So I thought, actually, they're worth a review because people are talking about them. And then, obviously, I was on maybe to watch Holy Spider, which I'd heard so much about. And I can't stop thinking about it. Like, so that's, 3 days later? And I think if a film stays in your head for that length of time and you're still thinking about it, then it's been good and it's been worth talking about. And obviously, after the Oscars, I wanted to see what all the Paul Mescal hype was about, so I watched After Sun as well.
And did you enjoy it?
I did. I found it really emotional, actually, because I was getting a wee bit of nostalgia for sort of every early 2000s or late 90s holiday that I'd ever been on abroad. And it's a really good performance. But, you know, as I'm sure we'll talk about, I enjoyed him in that God's Creatures, which was part of the festival. And I feel like I've sort of missed I didn't watch, was it Normal People that he was in? I didn't watch that, so I feel like I sort of missed the hype about him, and obviously he was Oscar nominated and things like that. So I'm now sort of seeing a couple of bits of his work and obviously impressed. But yeah, no, I just thought, you know, I got all those festival reviews done and I just want to keep the train of momentum going.
Yeah, no, quite right. Yeah. You know, you should give Normal People a watch. It's definitely worth it. Is it
good?
Very good. It's only 6. Yeah, it is good. Yeah, it's only 6 episodes as well. So it's like, I think it's an hour each episode. So yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah,
and
I'll put that on
he
there.
is very, very good in it. Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you,
trend for the wee chains. It was the gold. He wears a gold chain in it. Yeah.
That's all I remember from people saying on Twitter. But also, I will say that I thought his accent in After Sun was very good, because obviously I assume they're supposed to be from the East Coast because she wears a Hearts shirt at one point, and actually I thought it was quite consistent, quite good, and I can see why a lot of people thought he was Scottish, actually, because it's not a rubbish one.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty decent accent for a change. But I think we've talked about this before. Like, well, we know about Scottish accents because we live here, so we can reasonably tell what's a good one, what's a bad one. Whereas, I mean, I couldn't tell a decent like South London accent, for instance. You know, it's just because of proximity and history. It's quite strange when some people put on Scottish accents for film and TV, because you just go, whereabouts?
What area
Scottish
of Scotland is that?
Land, yeah. Sure, it's not a Scottish theme park that you maybe spent time in. I had a press day. Was okay. I saw Rye Lane, which is coming out this Friday, which is rom-com, sort of a rom-com, quite a nice take on it. And it's only 82 minutes. It's really quite good. It's one of the guys. Did you ever watch Industry?
No,
on BBC. No. One of the guys. Well, it's one of the guys that's from that.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty decent. Quite a funny wee film. And then I saw Alleluia, which is that Jennifer Saunders.
I do quite fancy that. Is it?
Nursed. It's okay. It's a bit of a strange one, to be honest, because
oh really?
Yeah, it starts off as one thing and it ends up somewhere else. It's about the efforts to save a hospital, a sort of geriatric care facility called the Beth, which is a hospital that's been there for like over 100 years, and it's all about the staff that's in there and all that, and it's sort of focusing on Jennifer Saunders' character, who is the sort of head nurse there. But there's all these other sort of characters within it as well, and it was actually okay. I thought it was going to be rubbish when I saw the trailers for it and the posters on the side of buses and stuff, and I thought this is going to be really bad. But it turned out to be okay. It was not too bad. And I used the time wisely as well to go and see 65 and Creed 3 in the afternoon.
How's
65's
movie?
it's okay. It's a B movie. It's set just before the meteor hits the Earth and wipes out the dinosaurs, and this space captain, if you like, he's captaining a ship of colonists, and gets caught up in a meteor shower and ends up on the planet. And obviously, it's just a race against time to try and get off it. It's decent enough, pretty decent special effects with lots of dinosaurs and stuff. Again, doesn't hang about. It's an hour and a half long. There's no ponderous sub-stories or anything like that. It's all pretty much up there on the screen. Adam Driver's pretty decent as an action star, because he's not one of these action stars who are pretty invincible and he's not able to MacGyver everything, and that he can't just pick up stuff and he's suddenly this warrior in the jungle or anything. So he does end up getting fairly battered and bruised at times, but it was decent. I enjoyed it. And Creed 3 was actually pretty good as well. It's a bit of a weird entry in the Creed sort of franchise, because it seems much more sedate, which is a strange thing to say for a boxing film.
Yeah.
But a lot of the film it's sort of interpersonal relationships rather than the boxing. But I saw an interview with Michael B. Jordan, and he was saying they were trying to do something different with the fight scenes, and you can see that in the way that the fight scenes are shot and everything. There's a lot of sort of virtual camera work, and they have done it in sort of slightly different ways, and it makes it fairly interesting. It's a pretty decent film, actually. And this is obviously the film this week that Jonathan Majors is in, because he seems to be in every bloody thing at the moment. So
yeah, he seems to be everywhere just now. I think there's a lot of red carpet stuff that he's done that I've seen him in as well. I feel like I've not been cinema in ages. That's not true. I was obviously at festival. I mean, like non-festival related things.
Yeah.
However, I am spending my wedding anniversary watching John Wick 4.
I saw that, yeah. That'd be excellent.
I mean, I actually am really looking forward to this. But see, between this and the trailers for obviously Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, I really love a big, I want to say cheesy blockbuster, but do you know what I mean? Like, I love these big sort of, you're going in for the action set pieces, the good suits, the good tailoring, all that sort of thing. Like, this is what I'm here for. Plus, you get Bill Skarsgård playing a French villain for some bizarre reason in John Wick 4, which I'm really looking forward to.
Why not? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, again, John Wick is one of these franchises that you don't have to take particularly seriously. You can just enjoy it. I mean, I've watched last week I watched the first one again, because I think they're all on Amazon Prime at the moment. So right. I was going to watch them all before heading out to see the fourth one. I mean, I've seen them multiple times. I think I've seen the first one maybe 6 or 7 times, because it's just a great movie. Get 2 and 3 done as well before the fourth one comes out, just as a wee reminder, because they're decent. They've got a lot of rewatch value. Yeah, definitely do. Yeah, but the reason I was annoyed was because they arranged an extra press day yesterday, and it was Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and I couldn't go because I was back at work, and I was like, shit. I know, yeah, but it's out this Friday, so I'll get to see it.
So can we also talk about then the fact that Zachary Levi seems to be doing the full DC experience by tweeting a lot of like weird anti-vax stuff, tweeting that he thinks is says, hey, white man, that he has a place at the table to discuss racism and misogyny, and also putting out like kind of like cruel and nasty messages, basically making fun of like Britney Spears' conservatorship. I honestly thought he was one of the more normal ones. He's going in a big like self-sabotage. Maybe he just feels like, you know what, I've done the 2 Shazams now. I can say whatever the fuck I want. It seems bizarre.
Well, maybe he's been given his jotters. He's just been told, see this is the last one you're going to go in, because it's in the can. There's nothing we can do to stop it going out, but it's not part of the sort of future plans, the whole 10-year plan, because they never mentioned anything like that. And it seems to be they're restarting and going with Superman as the sort of core of the sort of new DC stuff. So whether Shazam features as part of that or not,
I don't know. I mean, I obviously liked him in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I've only really seen him in Shazam because I've never watched Chuck. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I was sort of doing a wee bit of reading after I saw a few of the tweets and things, and there's like, tweets going back, and he was on like the Joe Rogan podcast and things like that. And it's almost like he's sort of flown under the radar with his crazy, but now it's all like in the open. And it's funny how, because I loved Shazam and I thought his character, or his characterization rather, was so endearing. And as I say, I loved him in Mrs. Maisel as well. And it's funny how someone can really just pull the rug with a few rogue statements.
That's bizarre, isn't it? That's as you say, probably just people weren't paying attention because there was far easier targets. As he did fly under the radar a wee bit, but now, maybe he's just going for it. Yeah, he doesn't care anymore. But I know, going on Joe Rogan, I don't know. That's never a good sign, is it really?
No, I know. It's almost like now they always have these articles like, what are your dating or what are your workplace red flags? So if someone had, I really like the Joe Rogan podcast, you'd be like, no, not for me.
Yeah. Name a role model, Andrew Tate. Yep. And goodbye.
Surely that's, I mean, I didn't say that. Surely that's got to be the opener of the pod now.
Yeah.
Something that I didn't say that was inappropriate.
Well, I actually didn't do that the last time because when we were doing our pod for the preview for the film festival, and we were talking about the films that we liked, and you obviously mentioned the Alfred Hitchcock one. Yes. And when you said, well, I really like Hitchcock, I actually did the wee Dalek-y thing when you said Hitch. And I was tempted to put that as the starter, and then I thought, no, I can't do that. That would just be, there are lines that you don't go over. So
I think you'd have made all of Sammy's Christmases come at once if you'd done that. Stunning. Man. Absolutely stunning. Thank you so much, headphones and mic.
Yeah, well, there was a couple of things that I used instead, so that was pretty good. Good. Rather than having to do that, you know what it's like. Before 7 o'clock as well.
John Wick 3 was our first podcast. For some reason, I thought it was something else.
No, it was old John Wick. And then it was that Jim Cummings film that we did as the second one.
That's why I thought Thunder Road. That's what I thought was our first podcast.
No, that was the second one we did, which was a bit of a bold choice, given that we started off with a blockbuster and then we went with something that probably about 6 people in the country had seen, So.
But I mean, we are just trailblazers. There's nothing like, Do you know, I must admit, I see during that My Name is Alfred Hitchcock, they obviously had clips from Torn Curtain, and I was sitting in the cinema and everyone was very serious because they were doing in-depth analysis of films, and I was genuinely trying not to piss myself because all I could think of was our podcast where we were taking the mick out of Julie Andrews' hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, be serious about this, because they're talking about obviously like the setup of the floor and how it looks like a spider's web from above and all this sort of thing. And they were being very serious, and I was just like, we were laughing at terrible hair. Appreciate.
don't take the mick out of it. Yeah, aye. Like we said at the time, it was probably intentional that her hair was that bad.
Hysterically bad. Hysterically bad.
It's good.